So I'm gonna make another video today, and I kind of wanted to talk about, well, what is a deity, or what deity do you follow? And then, first we have to understand what is a deity. A deity is a certain god, so then a god just rules over a certain point, right, or a certain realm. Let's say realm. And what is like an entity? An entity is also it's a certain spirit, or you can say a certain being that is in a certain point of existence, right? Okay, so how did something become a deity? Well, it had to have done a specific thing, right? So then you can take that in the context of a certain person first invented the idea of currency, right? Or money. And then other people had different interpretations on that currency. Sometimes it wasn't always one for one. Sometimes it was, one of my thing is worth two of your thing, right? And then so there's all these subcategories that it trickled down after. But first it was just the idea of money, okay? So now you could say, well, that person who created that thing is the ruler of that thing, right? It's the originator, it's the one, okay? So now you can take that another thing, like who first created communities, right? And communities, then they started getting, they're very diverse later on, it started trickling down. First there was just one group of people, and then that one group of people may have split off, created more groups of people, or a person saw that community, didn't like that community, so made his own community, and then, try to attack them, whatever, right? And so now we realize that, there's entities under the deities, right? And then there's kind of us, who we can pick and choose to what deity or what light we follow, what originator we follow. You see what I'm saying? So this is kind of the whole thing where there's multiple gods, because God to one person is not necessarily God to another. And, that's why I like to look at God as the only one that I would follow is the originator, the first event of everything, let's say. And so let's kind of take this in the context of governments, right? So they can be looked at as following a deity, or being the deity, or entity, if you want to get into it or whatever. But so that group of people decided that they're gonna rule over other people. They're gonna be the peace. They're gonna have a certain idea of the perfect citizen or the perfect person to be in their group, right? And so now you can see it's already diluted, because why are they the ones telling you what you need to do? Why are they the ones making decisions for you? Why are they creating these laws that you must follow? And then if not, they will unlawfully take you into custody. You know what I'm saying? It's not lawful because it's their law, but that law might not be, relative to my law. You see what I'm saying? So now it's kind of talk about how you get lost in a deity. So there's money. So someone might want to obtain money to obtain things that they desire, or maybe they just want money and they don't really care about buying things. They just want money to have money to express it, or whatever you will. But now that person is being consumed by that certain point in their life, that certain spirit that keeps calling them, oh, you need more money, you need more this, and then you get into these other programs to get the money. You might get a better job or go to college so you can set up for, a chance to get a good job, kind of thing. And we do all these things for something as simple as money. You give me your $1 and I'll give you a candy bar, something to get something we desire. And you're following kind of this subcategory idea of what the money is. You want to obtain that one thing with that money, so that's like the subcategory of that money. And then let's say you're praying for that like $20, or no, let's say you're praying for a new house, right? You're praying to God, you want this new house, you just had a kid, and you have all these struggles happening in your life. Maybe the deal didn't go through, or maybe you don't have enough money to get a new house, but you need this space. And so someone, keeps praying to that thing. There's like, whatever it is, God, let's say just God, because it's their God, right? So they're praying to it. And let's say that deity is like, okay, I'll get you in that new house. But then, maybe there's more struggles that tag along the way, so that you keep praying to that God, because that God just wants your thoughts and emotions. It wants you in that energy as well. So you keep praying, and then more shit keeps happening, and then eventually you've prayed a sufficient amount and you get that house. But one could say, it wasn't that entity that or deity that gave you that house. You did, right? But you prayed to something else to give it to you. And then you might believe that other thing gave it to you. And now, you believe it. You're in it. You're like, oh yeah, that thing got me the house. So I'm going to keep praying to it. And that's what it wants. It wants you consistently to pray to it, to give your energy to it. And it just keeps taking it, and it'll keep taking it, and you get consumed by it ultimately. And so let's take it in the context of governments and how they're an entity or a deity, right? Or following a deity. So they want to rule. So ultimately it's like authority. It's more about power to them. They'll have a draft, and then you gotta go, right? Or else you'll be looked down upon. You might get thrown in jail, this and that. And what are you really fighting for? You're fighting for that person's idea. It's not even your idea. You didn't want to go to war. You didn't want to kill that other person, but you did it for that thing, and you just gave everything to that thing. That is why I don't really believe in, going and joining the army and this and that. But then they give you incentives. It's like, okay, you follow me, right? And then I'll give you all this money. Oh, it'll promise you something, just like with Moses. What happened to Moses? He was talking to a spirit. And that spirit is like, okay, I'll promise you all this land. It was before that with, the reincarnation of, Israel and whatever. But let's just say just Moses, right? And Moses was leading his people through all these problems, all these things, just so that they can go back to the land that was promised to them, kind of thing. And then, he didn't follow a specific order from that spirit. And what did that spirit do? It killed him, right? Same with Aaron. When Moses went up to, make the tablets, then he came back down and he saw what Aaron was doing. What is Aaron doing? He created this gold calf. And that was seen as like old-time gods or like Egyptian gods, right? And so it was bad. That was a bad thing that Aaron did in Moses' eyes, because Moses is following this spirit, right? But Aaron was listening to another spirit when he created that. So you see what I'm saying? So like these different things are just pulling people in these different ways, and they're never listening to themselves, or just like, what do I really want? What do I believe in? Is God hasn't shown me that, he gave me this house, or, whatever. I did that, right? Or maybe my surroundings helped me, or this and that, right? But it ultimately, originated from you. You had an idea, you acted upon that idea, you expressed and got in your surroundings with that idea, then you built some sort of foundation, a community within that, and it just continues. But that's what I'm trying to get you guys to realize. Like, what are you following? Do you want to go inside that thing? Do you want to just only have the thought of money, or only have the thought of power? Is that what you want? Is it fear? Is it fear that's kind of drawing you guys, or is it the idea of peace? But then we speak about peace, but then get mad at our fellow neighbor. It's kind of ironic, and I just kind of wanted to throw that guy at you guys, kind of get you to start thinking a little more, like, what programs are you following? Let's throw this in here. Okay, so what is a spell, right? You can call me stupid for like taking it for what it is, but that is what we interpret it as, right? It's spell. It's spelling. You're spelling something out. You're writing something out. And then what are you thinking when you write that thing down? That's the energy that you're putting into it. You see what I'm saying? So then, what is a ritual? A ritual is you have a certain thing, right? You went to the grocery store, you obtained all this food or ingredients, and you came back, and then you used some element like fire, you used water to cook it, you used earth, the seasonings, and all these things, and you create something out of that, right? You did the exchange. You did 5 of these ingredients for one thing, so that is a ritual, right? And people look at it as negative. Oh, witches do this, whatever. We do it every single day. We make spells every single day, and you'll be walking, you'll read a sign, it'll say like no smoking. You know what that means, right? You know that there's no smoking in that building, or else you might get kicked out or whatever. You see what I'm saying? So you're following that rule to not smoke now. That is a spell. And then they add like all this lens on it, a certain color, a certain font, this and that. But it's all the same thing, right? And iPhone. What is iPhone? You know the symbol. You know it so well now that they don't even have to put iPhone on their phone. It's Apple. It's a Apple. So they took that Apple, and then they made it into a ritual over you, so that you buy it, you use their products, I'm making a video off of it right now. It's everything is that way. And so like the Olympics, everyone's freaking out over the Olympics. It's fucking stupid, because what is it? They had an idea, right? They wanted to have a certain amount of people that are looked at as athletic, and they wanted them to act upon their athletic-ness. And then, what happened? They created, hype, an idea around it, another idea, and then like surroundings, they started telling everybody about it, and then they created a certain place to have it, and then those people expressed, what they had to offer within that thing, and then it goes down the line. But that's what I'm trying to get you guys to realize. Like, what are you following? What are you paying attention to? Do you want to continue in that thing for all of time? Do you like it that much, you know? And then, so let's kind of talk about what I do. I don't like to tie myself to anything. You know, it's everything that I do comes from like within me. I'll get external things, you know, information or even physical things. I'll get external things, and then inside I tell myself, how did I acquire this thing? You know, it's I. You see what I'm saying? Man, you know, it's that's so man are on this planet so that we can create, right? And then I'm creating this channel. I'm assigning a certain energy to it. You know, I'm starting to act upon my idea. I'm starting to share it. You know, I don't have a foundation yet, but you know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to get you guys to think about these things. You know, or is it like weed? Weed is the same thing. You know, it's a certain thing you're following. Now, if you use weed as a tool, like maybe it helps you with headaches or pain, or you get creative ideas from it, and you're using it as a tool, then you're using it like a bitch. You know, you're not the one that you are the one that's doing it, you know, kind of thing. You chose to conform for a second to play the fool, but then you knew what was happening all along. You know, you're just doing that for a second. You're going in and out of it. People go in things, but they don't go, you know, they don't try to get out of it. You know, you work at the same 20-year job and you never want to get out because you're afraid of what's out now. You know, you've developed so many things within that job, so you're not going to go expand yourself. You see? And so this is kind of just what I want to talk about for this episode. Let me know what you guys think and leave some comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye.